All right, let's welcome back to the program Ted Dabrowski for weekly conversation with him, president at Wirepoints Inc.
Good morning, Amy. Good morning, Jim.
Good. Have you ever had the ribs at Brandt's?
I don't think I have. I had a nice meal with Jim one time there, and it was delicious, but I can't remember what I had now. Probably a burger.
Well, that's not the greatest endorsement, Ted. Say it was the burger and it was life-changing. How about that?
No, I mean, it was. I remember telling you, it's really good, though.
Oh, I appreciate that. Thank you.
All right, so wages are going up if you work in the restaurant industry, if you're a nail technician, if you're a hairstylist. How do you think that's going to affect the economy? This is just in Chicago. From $11 to $12.52.
Well, yeah, I think Jim was saying that earlier. If you try to control prices, you get your heads handed to you, and we keep seeing Chicago do more and more, controls of prices of life in general, and it never works out well. I don't think the bureaucrats can outsmart the markets, and they're trying to break that great economic rule that the markets know better.
Yeah, tipped wages to go up July 1st, and that's why. Gale Street Inn closed in Jefferson Park after 50 plus years. And according to, who was it? Somebody that worked with the building or with the restaurant said that they were fearful of this Chicago minimum wage for tip wages that are going to go up, and that would affect their business.
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons why they closed, besides safety reasons.
I mean, when you add the safety reasons, when you add the work from home, you've got these empty or half-empty high-rises, big office buildings. You've got the challenge that Chicago's got, man. The last thing you need to do is make it more expensive to go there. They should be making it as affordable, as friendly as everything that they can to attract people from the suburbs.
Okay, so here's the big question, and this is the argument I get in, because it is not debatable that restrictive minimum wage laws have a deleterious effect. The minimum wage is zero. The market sets the minimum wage. The government thinking they have control over it is the ultimate hubris. All they do is get the workers who need the minimum wage the most fired. That's what happens. But anyway, so the question is that do these politicians who continually put forth these policies that will have the opposite effect of what they pretend to do they know they're doing this, and are they trying to create chaos and trying to create hardship, or are they just that stupid?
I would say it's half and half. There's half that have no idea. They're following. They think it's a good thing, right? I mean, of course, if you pay people more money, that's good, right?
Oh yeah.
And I think a lot of them just don't know, right? Those are the guys and gals who haven't had the economics courses. The others they don't care. They're trying to take care of their voting base, and they'll do whatever it takes to keep getting the votes and keep
even if it's
going.
The perception of helping, but the reality of hurting. Power is seductive. They want to keep it.
So you wrote an article about this new Illinois law that makes it tougher for voters to block school districts from tax hikes. And the people of Effingham fought back. Can you walk us through that?
Yeah. So, Governor Pritzker, he's mandated. This is again back to the same point. Governor Pritzker is mandated through a law that he wants all-day kindergarten by 2027, 2028. And so, a lot of school districts are saying, well, yeah, but we don't have facilities, we don't have the buildings, and so. They passed a law to make it easier. So if any school district wants to expand and build, a $50 million school building, well, for pre-K or K, kindergarten, then they don't have to go ask the voters first. And you're talking about massive amounts of money. We've already got at school districts have $23 billion in school district debt right now. And so suddenly these school districts will just go out and say, hey, we're going to borrow and, of course, tax you. And they don't have to get voter approval first before they announce. And the only way it can now be blocked is after the school district announces, then the people got to scramble. The people like in Effingham, they got to scramble like crazy, go out and get enough signatures to force a referendum. And so rather than requiring a referendum right off the bat, they force the people in the city to go scramble and get all these signatures, and it's backwards because it's hard to go out and get signatures, especially if you have to do it all the time. And this is the fourth time in Effingham that the school district is trying to build new buildings and raise taxes, and the people keep fighting back. But it's a big burden on ordinary people. They got jobs to do and families to feed.
So first of all, the Flaming Hearts, the people of Effingham. I've been there. I dated a girl from Effingham back in college.
Here we go. Pull up a chair.
Local businessman in Effingham, Mr. Jerry Moon, who was a great guy. I hope he's still alive.
Jerry's my favorite.
I love
Jerry.
Hope he's still alive. But anyway, so every time you and I talk, I mean, there are things that are going on that just are maddening and confounding. What's the good thing that's coming out? Are people push back in Effingham? Do you see a broader trend of people pushing back against bad governance, or are we just destined for failure?
I think I've been saying this. I think this past couple of years have been the best opportunity to mount an opposition across the state, and it's a whole different groups of people, right? So you've got. I talked to the Effingham people yesterday, and then I talked to people in nearby counties, and they're ticked because they see their school districts all going to the max, levying as much as they can all the time. Then you've got the blacks in Chicago who are saying, well, what the heck is all this, spending billions? I mean, we're spending over $3 billion on health care for illegal immigrants. What the heck is that? And so you've got a whole crew of people seeing what's going on. You've got people who understand that Brandon Johnson's made a mess. So I'm thinking that we are reaching a point where I think we can reach a critical mass of opposition. Now, the question is, can we put all those pieces together? Because our opposition party is not very organized and doesn't have the power and the organization to do all that right now. So that's the problem. The opportunity is there. The question is, can we amass a good opposition to push back against all this stuff?
And I guess we have to think that way, right? No, you go.
No, like any rumblings or who's going to run for Senate, U.S. Senate seat, for governor, for mayor, or I mean,
well, yeah,
the Democrats are while we're sleeping, they're plotting against us.
Well, that's for sure. They're always plotting. They're so well organized. The unions are so well organized. There's a bunch of names out there, and I think there's a rumor that Pritzker's going to announce in the next couple weeks.
Oh, really?
And so I think once that happens, then I think things start to then
Hold on, announce what?
Whether or not he's going to run for governor.
Oh, okay, got it. Yeah,
he's running for governor. Yeah.
Because what happens with the Dick Durbin seat, though?
Oh, here, real quick, what do you think Pritzker's going to do? Is he going to run, or is it better to be a governor when you're running for president, or just to give up the seat?
Well, I said, he's rich enough that he could do whatever the heck he wants. And, if I were him, I think if I were him playing his game, I'd step out and just focus on presidency. But, he lives off of what he's doing in Illinois. So he's probably going to run again and then use that as a jumping point to the presidency.
He likes wearing the sash and being in the parade.
But we should definitely run a fund to collect money to support his presidential run. Get him out of here.
Oh, I would love.
I got a couple $100 toward that.
Love going to run for governor.
He'll raise a lot of money that way.
Yes, exactly.
I mean, I don't think he stands a chance. But then again, I did not think people would be voting for him after COVID.
Yeah.
But then Roe v. Wade was overturned, and then I knew he won.
Exactly.
I knew that second I fell on my knees like, Pritzker just won. Because it's all going to be about abortion.
Talking point about white men telling women what they can do. And they've used that issue amazingly.
They're still using it, but also we're making money off of this. I mean, we're the abortion capital of the Midwest.
Yeah, sure.
And abortions are up since Roe v. Wade was abolished. And I think that's because celebrities and people on the left, they celebrate their abortions on social media.
It's crazy.
Like, I got an abortion. Like, seriously, is nothing sacred? Shut your mouth.
Yep.
And then other people want to do because so-and-so did it, or just because they can, because they think that they're going to be told that they can't have an abortion.
Amen.
Yeah, I think we can elevate. All the pain that Illinois are going through. That it's a far bigger issue than abortion, right? You've got these these property taxes are squeezing people out of their homes, the outmigration, the high level of crime. We've got so many issues, and then the kids can't read. There's so many issues that are so much more macro and consequential to ordinary people's lives. So that's the role we have to do is make that bigger than any kind of abortion discussion that they might have.
Now, Ted Dabrowski, a little birdie told me that you speak fluent Spanish. Is that true?
Yes, my mom's from Ecuador, and I lived in Ecuador for 3 years when I was little, and then I worked in Mexico City for 6 years. So I love speaking Spanish. It's great.
We have it all backwards here. We should be doing foreign language immersion classes when the kids are young and sponges and can pick up and speak 2 or 3 languages. That's how they do it in Europe. I mean, Melania Trump speaks 6 different languages. And then you go there and I visit my cousins in Sweden, and they're speaking one spoke Spanish, Swedish, English. I mean, it's just interchangeable, and it's just amazing.
Well,
but they learn when they're young.
Right. You're absolutely right, and it's too late when you teach people foreign language in high school. But I would make the bigger argument: we should teach our kids to read and do math when they're young. That's what we're not doing in
That's
Illinois
true
right now.
too, Ted.
You look at, so
Mic drop.
I think,
Perfect, Ted. Yes, I agree.
Show
the
off,
biggest
one
thing we
upper.
need to do if we want to have a successful Illinois one day is obsess about literacy in Illinois. We need to obsess about it because we've gotten so far away from it that most of our kids can't read and they can't do math.
All right, Ted Dabrowski, we're going to have to leave it there for today. We will check in with you again next week at the same time, same bat channel. Ted Dabrowski,
Thank you, guys.
president at Wirepoints.inc, and he joined us on our Turnkey.pro answer line.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer.
Your show keeps me alive during the week. There's nobody I'd rather listen to between 5 and 9 in the morning than you guys.
On AM 560, The Answer. Gain insight into building strong marriages and raising godly children with Focus on the Family with Jim Daly. Each weekday at 11:30 a.m. on our sister station.